Oh, hey, Bruce. Welcome back to Broken Minds. I think Reiwa's mind here is equally as, well, maybe not equally as broken as ours, but our character definitely has the most broken mind. It's lucky that she's still standing here because I get the feeling that we really want to murder her. I don't think it's a good idea, though, because she's our perfect scapegoat. Well, let's carry on, shall we? Have a nice time solving your case. Thank you, Reiwa. I will. You know, I liked you at my house. You look good standing next to the plant. Maybe if I didn't reply, the moment would pass. Well, gonna say something? Thanks for implying I look like a decoration. The warmth of your appreciation really knows no limits. Oh, you're welcome, Noah. Shall I go in with you then? Why don't you wait here and read your fashion magazine, and I'll page you when it's time. I get it. Good plan, Noah. Don't you think inside'd be a better place to wait, though? But there's so much fresh air out here. It's stuffy inside. Ugh, stuffy. You're right, Noah. Outside would be better. Yes. Wow. Off I go. Lucky she's an idiot, huh? See you later. Help you later. So long. I won't knock on you, I promise. I'm pleasantly surprised she didn't murder us in our sleep while we were staying in her house. It was a small victory over Reiwa's stubborn mind. It made me feel better after the way she rejected my friendship. It was time to see what the detectives were up to. Yeah, it's true. If we were friends with her, it might make it harder for us to throw her under the bus when the time comes, you know? The odd scene in the bathroom was nibbling at me. I need to explore the YPDA a bit more. Sure. The detectives were waiting for me. As they do. No. I ripped the key from the picture. It was pretty easy to spot. Put it in my pocket. Time to find something to unlock. I didn't spot it. I just clicked on the picture because something came up. The reception room looked different. Someone had moved the couches. There were no longer any boxes. The detectives had been busy. They've actually been tidying this place up? It was one of the gurneys my parents had been rested on. Oh god. I remember Takuma sticking it in the trunk of the car. Strange to put it in the reception room. But then again, the detective's office didn't have much space for storage. This is where I store my corpses and corpse containers. I tried the knob. The door was locked. Fortunately, I had the key. So they just stuck the cardboard boxes in the corner? What a mess. There's some more pouches on top of one of the boxes. It seemed that the boxes were filled with those pouches. Okay. Laptop. On the computer screen, a scheduling program was open. The names of several morgues were listed. What did it mean? Something was wrong. I could feel it. I needed to search the office. I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. What the hell? Yeah, I spoke aloud without thinking. Fortunately, the detectives didn't seem to hear me from the other room. Small plastic bags hung on hooks inside the copier. They appeared to be things inside the bags. The labels read eye, nose, hand. The shapes inside didn't suggest anything that the contents matched the description. Suddenly, what I'd seen on the computer began to make a lot more sense. I need to take a closer look at it. Okay. Oh, they're crazy too? Everybody's crazy. Something was going on. And now, thanks to a more thorough search of the computer, I knew what it was. They were messed up people. Even more so than me. Couldn't be. Blackmail. Could I even be friends with people like this? Maybe it would be easier. We were more alike than I thought. It's true. We have so much in common. We can talk about our favorite murdering techniques. Alright, where are we going? In here? Have they been scribbling on Uzumaki's face? Excellent detective work. As always. Where were they? There was no sign of them. There is now. Ah. Hello. Ready to continue the investigation? No, Noah. What do you mean no? I can pay you. That's not it, moron. There's no need to investigate because we solved it. Look at my eyes. They're bloodshot and sleep deprived. You know what that means? Mystery cram. Mystery cram? Yes. We spent all night debating, arguing, counter-arguing. In the end, we came up with a theory. And I think it's correct. So who did it? Who killed my parents? Who was the orphan? Noah, it's you. Man, I thought I got away with this shit. How could you say that, Takuma? I thought it was going to be Uzumaki. This was bad. No, we were up all night, and that was the conclusion we reached. But how? Let me explain. Look how sad she is. Are we just going to let her be sad like that? Yeah. She's a murderer. Who cares what she thinks? The detectives were convinced I'd done it. I wasn't worried. I still had a few tricks left. Oh, what a mean thing to say. Hardly, if my theory is correct. We need to get to the bottom of this. Let's start with the first thing Noah whined to us about. The scare. Noah's claim was that a figure in a rabbit mask scared her and her parents at the window. And then a fire broke out. I think Noah could have done all this herself. I'm right here, stop talking about me like I'm not. Also, you're wrong. There's no way I could have done those things. Oh, really? Well, what do you think of this? First, you hung a stone tied to a string on the window. That's what made the tapping noise that drew your parents' attention there. You hid the rabbit mask nearby, under your shirt. Or in your purse. When it was time for the scare, you directed them to look at the window and quickly pulled on the mask. What they thought was someone outside looking in. It was merely a reflection in the glass. In fact, since it was dark out and the lights were on, in your apartment, it would be more strange if they could see someone standing outside. Adding nothing but water to a rice cooker creates a lot of steam. That's what your parents thought was a fire. You could have also cried fire in order to further implant that in their heads. At the very least, we know this wasn't really an arson case. There was no fire damage anywhere. Hold on a minute, Takuma. What about the tapping? It'd be hard to control it when it would start. If they heard it too early, it could have ruined everything. And what if they never heard it at all? Ume, you're on my side. Only until he proves it. That seems pretty inconsequential to me. They could have just assumed it was a tree branch until Noah pointed it out. There weren't any trees on the side of the apartment. Then maybe Noah covered the tapping noise with another noise, like loud music or the screams of children. Smart, but not impossible to twist out of. I suppose that would explain it. So Noah, care to retort? This was it. My chance to kill any suspicion and break their minds. Takuma claimed I used a stone on a string to fake tapping at the window. They didn't find a stone or a string at the crime scene? I'm pretty sure they didn't. I'm gonna save first just before I fuck everything up. Takuma claimed I set up the stone and string beforehand and had a mask ready to go and also set up the fake fire. I'm too stupid to know how to do that. I didn't have time to set all that stuff up. Why would I go to all that trouble? I didn't have time to set all that stuff up? I'll go with that. Takuma claimed it was suspicious for me to have jumped out of the window despite the fire being fake. Because I thought the fire was real. It doesn't matter whether it was or not. Takuma claimed the rice cooker was used to create the fake fire. Steam couldn't be mistaken for smoke, not if you're in the room. No way. Let's go with that one. I could never mistake steam for smoke. Takuma claimed I'd held the mask up to my face and my parents saw the reflection in the window. If either of them had happened to look at me, would my plan have been ruined? Yeah, that. Come on, we can get out of this. We got this. We're an evil mastermind. After a moment of concentration, I was ready to strangle their argument to death. What you're saying, don't you see it doesn't make any sense at all? Makes sense to me. Takuma laid it all out. Then I'll start with that. Your scenario is ridiculous. I had very little prep time. Do you really think I could tie a string around a stone and hang it outside the window before my parents arrived? Or time to make a mask? Did you find either at the crime scene? No, you didn't. I agreed the fire probably wasn't real, but I had no way to know that. I jumped out of the window. If I'd planned for a fake fire, wouldn't I have put it in a more convenient place? Also, there's the matter of the amount of steam. There's no way that a tiny rice cooker could make enough steam to be confused with smoke. Would they buy it? I believe you, Noah. Thanks, I guess. She's an idiot, though. I suppose those are good points. 2 down, 1 to go. Keep talking. As far as your mask theory goes, I have a small, tiny issue with it. If either of one of my parents had simply looked at me, in your hypothetical, I would have been holding the mask up to my face. That would have been pretty awkward, right? And finally, Ume hasn't waded in, but neither of you gave any motive. I'm a happy person who has tons of friends. Why would I kill my own parents? Interesting. With all of those interestings, you could trade them for one astounding. But I'm afraid I still have to disagree. It didn't work. Prep time. You had the whole week to prepare and rehearse, so don't give me that crap, you lying psychopath. Blah. Shock. You were mean. Great defense, Noah. You jumped out of the window precisely because it was more difficult. It covered up the fact that you were the one who created the fire. The steam from the rice cooker by itself would probably not amount to much, but what if you added dry ice to it? Wouldn't that create a fairly effective illusion of smoke? No, because it doesn't smell like smoke. Steam and smoke do not smell the same. The idea that your parents would see you wearing the mask is a good defense, until you imagine it playing out in your mind. I believe your plan was so carefully calculated that that very scenario was planned for. If your parents had seen you, or if it had gone wrong in any way, you could have easily played it off as a prank. The rice cooker steam would become just that, a silly prank. We would never be called, and you would lie in wait. Perhaps this is the latest of many attempts to kill your parents even. The one scheme that succeeded. Okay. I guess that works. But motive? There's still no motive. My thoughts are finally settled on that, actually. The motive is loneliness. How could that be true? My parents were always there for me. No, they weren't. You complained about that yourself. Something you're probably regretting right now. Besides, it could be that you thought that they were in your way. It takes a lot for a child to kill a parent, much less so. Abuse with loud violence or suffering with quiet violence. And the latter certainly applies to you. Quiet violence. That is the catalyst that set your motive into motion. Ume's being so cool. Such brilliance. Oh, like you're being any help, Yuzuki. Well, Noah, go ahead. Tell me what you think. Quiet violence? It doesn't make any sense. And something's bothering me about all this too. Why would I need to go to the hospital? Why would I need to do anything? I hate to say it so bluntly, but my parents were much older than me. I could have just waited for death to come naturally. You know? No. The path is clear. You can't just muddy up the waters. You're the only one who could have done any of this. Why is it that Dr. Uzumaki, who just happened to be your therapist, dies right after your parents? Admit it, you sent that chocolate to him. And also the hospital? It's the most important place of all. It's the place where you did most of your setup work to murder your parents. That's not true. Before Noah jumps in with a poorly worded defense, I just want to say, I think you haven't properly laid out your argument, Takuma. Seems simple enough so far. Noah jumps through the glass to justify a trip to the hospital. She needs to go to the hospital to set up the remote murder of her parents. It's the only place someone like Noah could get her hands on poison. She then used the poison she found at the hospital to contaminate Noriko's lipstick and the chocolates. That's probably also where she gave Noriko the antidote. She could have sent the chocolate at any point between when she got to the hospital and when she met with you. At any other time it would have been inconvenient. Uzumaki needed to die while we were still investigating her parents' deaths. Wait, hold on. Noah actually made me reschedule our meeting earlier. That just proves my point further. Noah must have sent the letter and the chocolate at the same time. She rescheduled your meeting so that she'd be there when the letter arrived, securing her alibi. The chocolate must have had a note attached like, give this to Uzumaki at the end of the day. That's not so unusual, right? Any problems with that, Noah? Oh yeah, there sure are. More than he realized. And I was going to point them all out. And then kill him. Alright, I better save again. Takuma claimed that I hurt myself on the window to go to the hospital and stole poison to use on the chocolates and lipstick. I would never hurt myself on purpose. I would never steal. It's just too complicated. I don't know which one's good. Let's go with I'd never hurt myself on purpose. This would be a good defense if Takuma wasn't dead set on painting me as a highly motivated person. Besides, I'm admitting to him that I would have been fine with the poison on the lipstick giving me a scar. Why'd I said that? Takuma claimed I hurt myself on the window to go. Oh yeah, okay. It's too complicated. Let's go with that. Takuma claimed I sent the letter that I found at the YPDA's doorstep. How could I have timed the letter to arrive just in time? And that wouldn't be possible. Shit, not with our mail system. Takuma's argument was founded on scattered logic. No doubt he was tired after his long night nothing marathon. He hadn't figured anything out, or at least that's what he would believe after I was done with him. They say that if you keep talking, eventually you'll say something meaningful. But I disagree. You guys haven't said one meaningful thing. It's very disappointing. Great, here comes the backlash. Oh boy. I love receiving criticism. Please, tell me what I'm doing wrong. I'll try. You say I wanted to jump through the window to hurt myself so that I could go to the hospital. And when I got there, I would steal some poison. Poison the chocolates, poison Noriko's lipstick, and then somehow it wouldn't work on Noriko, but it would work on Hiroki instead. It's just too complex. There's a limit to how many things one can plan for. Even premeditated murders can't be this premeditated, can they? Didn't I already go for my big backup plan theory? It doesn't fill in all the gaps. For instance, the hospital was heavily monitored with security cameras. Even if I did steal poison from the hospital, which is a weird thing to keep in a hospital anyway, you could have just looked at the tapes. Oh no, Noah told a lie. That's such a bad girl thing to do. I applaud you with the hands of my soul. The hospital wasn't monitored. Don't lie to us, Noah. How'd they see through that? They hadn't even investigated the hospital. Or had they? Shouldn't the fact that I thought I was being monitored mean that I wouldn't try and steal from the hospital? So you're claiming you weren't lying, and just unbelievably stupid? I suppose that could be true, but either way, there still weren't any monitors. We may never know what really went on in the hospital. Okay then, but can you at least admit that me planting the letter can't have happened? It was timed so perfectly, how could I pre-plan it arriving just as Takuma was leaving? Ume, you heard the doorbell. It was definitely delivered. You know I'm telling the truth. So now your case rests on a doorbell. I did hear a doorbell, but at the time I thought it was strange, because we don't have a doorbell. I think that's strange too, Ume. Maybe I should enlighten Noah about how one could do such things. Yeah, maybe you should. Or not. Want to see a cat trick? Stop making that creepy face and get on with your explanation. Fine. You're right, Noah. That's not the rebuttal I was expecting. You're right, Noah. The letter's delivery was perfect. Too perfect to plan for. That's why you have to approach it from another angle, like an optical illusion. It wasn't a delivery at all. You just pretended to find the letter. We were overthinking it because of the doorbell. But it doesn't take a genius to play a recording of a doorbell on your phone. Ooh. That phone of yours sure is useful, Noah. Don't you think my scenario is possible? I admit it's possible, but you can't deny what's impossible. For me to have killed my parents while I was here at your office. Oh, she hit the gold mine, Takuma. Yes, that was something that stumped us all night. Well, stumped me. Ume and Yuzuki fell asleep, but I stayed awake. Your commitment is very much appreciated, even if it means you're accusing me. No thanks, wanted criminal. Politeness won't save you. I'll now show you the true meaning of Christmas. It's really about the bearded anti-burglar breaking into your house, just like we did under last night's moonlit sky. I know, I was surprised too. Last night? What's he talking about? Like what I saw in my dream? No, it couldn't be real. The detectives wouldn't enter the upper apartment while I was away. Then again, they hadn't exactly been acting like upstanding citizens. But then again, they weren't humanoid rabbits either. It was a metaphor. How was that a metaphor of any kind? Yeah, okay, just say your theory. Fine. Hiroka Karada, father, poisoned. Noriko Karada, mother, heart attack. And yet, the whole thing looked like a shooting. It seemed strange from the start, but deaths were unusual. Both deaths were unusual. Poison found on the lips, a sudden heart attack after a hospital visit with no identifiable trigger. You weren't much help with the pacemaker, Noah. Sorry. Turns out it can be disrupted with strong electromagnetic pulses or high-frequency sounds. When I first began to suspect you, I pulled Ume to the side so we could go over every detail of your meeting. It was impossible for you to have snuck out, run over to your apartment and killed your parents. The strange causes of death were a big hint. There was only one thing you did that could have possibly killed your parents. And it wasn't sending yourself a threatening letter, which you also did. It was something else. Something seemingly insignificant. Something ingenious. A simple phone call. Yes. When Noah called Hiroki's phone, that was what killed both of her parents. That's insane. What if calling Hiroki's phone set off a particular ringtone? A custom ringtone. A ringtone with a high frequency sound. Psh, come on. That's so plausible I'm crying. No way. All you need is that ringtone, and the pacemaker stops working. And then the mother tries to give her resuscitation. No, the father tries to resuscitate her and gets poisoned by the lipstick. What would Hiroki do to save Noriko? Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He wouldn't call the police? This is stupid. Don't interrupt me. And where did we find the poison? On his lips. I believe you tried to mislead us by pretending you had tested the poison on yourself. Once I placed you as suspect number one, it was easy to ignore that obvious misdirection. You subjected Hiroki to a cruel, ironic fate. Saving Noriko's life killed him with a poison that Noriko had been given the antidote to. That's how you killed your parents without laying a finger on them. Come on, Takuma. That's a big stretch and you know it. So what? I do my basic calisthenics like any self-respecting human being. I can reach my toes if I have to. And I'm saying this is the true explanation. The brilliant part is how absurd it is. If it did work, you created a ludicrous puzzle the detective with integrity wouldn't dare to solve. If it failed, you'd still win because it was all done remotely, making it difficult to pin on you. A no-lose situation. But I've seen through you, Noah. Ha! What a nut job. It wasn't the first time I was regretting choosing their agency. Okay, calm down everyone. That means Takuma. He's acting like his favourite idol group committed mass genocide or something. I apologise. Don't apologise, Ume. I'll retract my apology if you explain one thing. The shooting. How could Noah fake the shooting? I was getting to that. I think Noah found a very dangerous book. A book that could teach you, step by step, how to assemble shrapnel bombs. Remember those pillows back in Noah's house? The distinctive cat ones? If the killer shot them with a gun, they would have looked like the victim of a criminal hole puncher. Instead, they looked like something exploded out of them. I think Noah's parents were killed from a projectile shrapnel. In short, the pillows were stuffed with shrapnel bombs. That is the reason why I refuse to read books. I don't want to poison my pure, innocent mind with wicked thoughts. Like Ume has, from using her precious laptop so much. Don't call it that, it's invaluable. Precious can be used in a derogatory way to suggest something is too delicate or looked after. Yeah, exactly. Can you perhaps get to the point? Certainly. I know nobody actually shot a gun in your apartment, Noah. For one, guns are hard to procure. For two, the pillows, there was no reason to shoot them anyway. I'm more of a coroner than a ballistics expert. Gee, thanks for the information, Yuzuki. We were all wondering that. But I've never seen bullet marks like that at a crime scene before. I don't know what sort of gun could have made them. See? I knew my hunch was right. They weren't bullet marks. They were bits of shrapnel. No shrapnel, the shrapnel bombs that were timed to go off and killed Noah's parents when she wasn't there. That's how she was able to create an alibi. Timed? There was a serious flaw in Takuma's logic there. And in more ways than one. It all makes sense. The trajectory of the shrapnel matches up with the pillows. Sorry. My theory is that Noah meant this as a safeguard, just in case her elaborate chain reaction didn't go as planned. I don't like it, but you can't deny it does line up with everything neatly, with a nice bow on top. Don't worry, Ume. I'm sure Noah has a wonderful explanation for us, one that makes far more sense. Sure I do. You don't set a very high bar, Takuma. That isn't true. You should see me in gymnastics class. Yeah, sure. To be honest, I was worried. As crazy as he sounded, he was spot on. I had to destroy the truth, so that nobody could ever know it. I managed to lie to myself, so I could lie to anyone. Goodbye, truth. Stab, 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 stab. Not crazy at all. Takuma claimed that Noriko was killed by Hiroki's phone ringtone. He never proved that Hiroki's phone even had a ringtone? I'll roll with that. Takuma claimed that I gave Noriko an antidote at the hospital. Wouldn't it have been suspicious for me to give her a pill? Let's roll with that. Takuma claimed Hiroki used mouth-to-mouth on Noriko and died from the poison in her lipstick. How could I have known Hiroki would use mouth-to-mouth? Takuma claimed I made a shrapnel bomb that would make it look like a shootout had occurred. How could I have timed the bombs to go off at the right moment? Alright, here we go. We're getting off this. With this last dissection, Takuma's logic would falter. I was sure of it. I've put up with this long enough, Takuma. You're stretching facts and making things up. I've yet to see any proof from you either. You're a liar. I'm gonna prove just how wrong you are right here and now. So here goes. First, I can't believe you'd say that a ringtone could give Noriko a heart attack. When exactly did you prove that I had the ability to install a custom ringtone onto a cellular phone? And when did you prove that Hiroki's phone even had that ringtone? Also, in your scenario, you assumed I gave Noriko the antidote at the hospital. Your reasoning was that I needed her to die on my own terms, because I wanted to secure a watertight alibi. But wouldn't me handing her a pill seem suspicious? It'd be like, here, have this pill. Even though I'm her daughter, she wouldn't have just taken it. And how could I have known both the poison and the antidote for the poison would be at the hospital? Your whole argument is nothing but assumptions. Later in your argument, you implied that I predicted Hiroki would use mouth-to-mouth on Noriko. But he could have called the police instead, or done chest compressions instead, or any number of things other than that instead. And he may have done none of those things because Hiroki didn't love Noriko anymore. If you're going to accuse me of wanting to murder her, you should also be willing to put the blame on him. And are you really claiming that Noriko wouldn't realize her lipstick was poisoned? Or that it would be easy for me to sneak around a hospital stealing things and swapping out lipstick? And as for your big shrapnel bombs idea, can you prove this information about how to make them is easy to find? And what if they'd gone off too early by mistake? How could I have possibly timed them to explode when you left the apartment, Takuma? Wouldn't you have witnessed the murder? Most of all, I'm distressed about this attack on my character. That you would insinuate that I'm some kind of expert on bombs and killing people? You have a lot of nerve. You're the one who's lying, Noah. I figured out the narrative. You're the true culprit, and you keep trying to convince us otherwise. It won't work. A ringtone did give Noriko a heart attack. It did, because it had to. It did, because I said so. It did, because I have Hiroki's phone right here. And it takes a second. There it is. The ringtone that killed your mother. Guess what else I found? It's one of those pre-made ringtones on these fancy new cellulars. So I've proved my little theory too. Whether you got the antidote from the hospital, from the pharmacy, or from Uzumaki himself, I don't care. The fact is, you had to have it. Let's not dwell on semantics. Hiroki did use mouth-to-mouth because that's what killed him. I don't care if he loved Noriko or not. That's what the evidence suggests. You didn't have to make the bombs. Instead, you bought them on the black market. How'd you set them off in time? Simple. The high-frequency ringtone did two things at once. It set off the pacemaker, and it also set off the bombs. You figured out how to create custom ringtones by experimenting with your own phone. Any tech-savvy youth would be able to do it. Your little nitpicks are like chasing ants after killing the queen. They won't help you. I've been thinking about the poison, Client 284. Takuma told me to wait to tell you, but I have a cute little theory about what it is. Go ahead, Yuzuki. A poison that kills within half an hour when ingested is accessible, odorless, flavorless, doesn't damage skin, and has a simple antidote. Cyanide? I considered the usual mainstream poison possibilities. Cyanide, strychnine, nicotine, arsenic, lead. But nothing fit. It made me sad. So I tried to think of happy things, and that's when I remembered. Generic name? Legonomazepam? Brand name Happy Max. It's used to treat anxiety disorders. With a little tweaking, it turns deadly. It makes it hard to love. What's the antidote? Just about any off-the-counter painkiller tablet. Could even be a cheap one, like a headache pill. Like aspirin. Shh, yes. Aspirin is prescribed to patients with heart conditions all the time. Heart patients like Noriko. You see where Yuzuki is going with this, Noah? Guess who's involved with the case and takes Happy Max? The person you probably thought that I didn't interview or acknowledge. The person eavesdropping on us right now. I was thinking, what's her problem? Anxiety's her problem. Happy Max is her solution. I'm not your ally, Noah. None of us are. We're only here to solve your case. And take your money. That's the contract between detective and client. I believe I've crushed all of your objections. You faked evidence. You planted that ringtone. You made up that drug. Get Reiwa in here. She's the real culprit, not me. Let me show you the truth of the case. Man, I got fucked. In all of its simple, elegant detail. Jeez, we look real evil in that one. I mean, we are pretty evil, but still. It is all very elaborate though, isn't it? Well, shit, now what? That's really it? So elaborate. And all this time you were just lying right to our faces. Must have been pretty funny. You told us such nasty lies, and I wanted to believe them. Everything fits so perfectly without any glitches. I'm so glad you're the criminal, Noah. So when you said it wasn't me, it really was you all along? And when you said I love my parents, you really didn't love them? Enough for me, amusing as that is. Perhaps Noah would like to tell us her true motive. What? My motive deduction wasn't good enough for you? Not in the slightest. Take it away, Noah. I did my best to confuse this investigation and defend myself, but you detectives refused to lay off me, even with so many holes in your logic, so fine, I admit it. I made a ton of money through my job and even got my own apartment. I thought I was self-made enough to attract friends like a millionaire, but people wouldn't let me befriend them. Anytime I got anywhere remotely interesting, they got scared. I realized it was all my parents' fault, always judging me, denying me respect, taking my earnings for themselves. I was a monster of their making. It was no wonder I drove future friends away. So I wanted to kill them. But I didn't kill them. I didn't do anything. Good luck proving it with your fake evidence. I'm gonna walk out this door free because I know that there's no way to prove I put that ringtone in that phone. All those bombs in the pillow. Or use that drug. It was Uzumaki. It was Reiwa. It was Amane. It could have been any of them. You could have said any of them. You could have proved it because you cheated at the game. We may have cheated, but we didn't lose. That's all we care about. I can't believe you just said that. Detectives are supposed to be moral. You know what? I don't even want to be friends with you. But I guess I should have expected this from the start, knowing what I do. What are you claiming to know exactly? I've seen what's in the copier. You're not going to like having that brought up during the trial. I don't imagine the judge will look favourably on the fact that the detectives I hired cut up my victims to sell their body parts at the black market. Is this your idea of blackmail? I don't care anymore. You stand there claiming to be detectives, but you're more immoral than I am. I did what I had to pursue happiness. You're just making a couple of million yen on the side. Many millions of yen, actually. Not that it's enough. I had to register our agency as a religious organisation just to keep us afloat last year. I hope you appreciate, Noah, that your parents' hands, eyes, feet, kidneys, scalps, and other usable parts will help our illustrious business. Thank you for your donation, Noah. We thank all of our convicted murderers for their donations. It's what we do because we're nice people. You are the least nice people I know. Does that mean we're not ideal friends for you? That's a relief. No, what I'm failing to understand is how you could ever assume that we would be friends with you. Weren't you trying to recruit me for your agency yourself? Why'd you come to that conclusion? Takuma kept asking me for my opinion. If he wasn't trying to recruit me, what was he doing? He was trying to trip you up. Yes, I never once was actually seriously considering you as a member. You seemed suspicious to me from the start. The more I gave you to do, the greater the chance you would make a mistake. Even if he did recruit you. Why do you think being in the agency would make you our friend? It wouldn't. We all hate each other. I picked up on that. I didn't think you'd be my friend because I was in the agency. I thought you'd be my friend because I'm a good person who's worthy of having friends. There is no worthiness involved here. Who's deciding that for you? I befriend people when they're useful. It's the type of relationship that's ripe for exploitation. Yeah, friends help you out when your financial situation is getting a bit rough. That's what friends do. They give you cash. My friends get me drunk. You wanted friends because you were lonely, right? But friends can't help you with that. Loneliness is built into people. You'll always find an excuse to be lonely, Noah, because deep down, you're very selfish. Yeah, that's what you are, Noah. A little selfish shrimp, wanting all the attention and pity, but no actual relationships, and the privilege of abusing those relationships when you feel like it. I don't want to abuse anything. I just want somebody to care about me. How is that selfish? But you did abuse your relationships. You're a psycho. You said it yourself just now. It's in your nature to abuse people and take advantage of them. If you really wanted to do the moral thing, you would let yourself wallow in loneliness so that you'd be unable to manipulate people. It's called the high ground, Noah. I'm standing on it right now. Right on top of the body parts from grieving survivors that we sell for cash. Yeah, that's how come it's so high up. Just call us Mr. Moral High Ground. You can only call me that, but you can only call me that. But even so, you should strive to at every opportunity because it'll help illustrate that you know your place. If I let myself wallow in loneliness, I just get depressed. The best way to protect people from me was to remove my barriers and accept myself. My parents and Uzumaki were disgusting people who deserved to die. My parents made me who I am. Uzumaki didn't save me from them. Am I wrong? I had no choice. Your stupid I had no choice narrative just proves how wrong you are, and how deeply disturbed your true nature is, Noah. Killing your parents was simply revenge. Revenge for what you perceived as a wrong they did to you. But you didn't need to kill them to have friends. Your logic is all twisted. You're right that you need to accept yourself, but accepting you have a problem is just stage 1. I get that. I'm gonna change. I need to get it out of my system, and now I can move on to other stages. Once I've completely rid myself of all my negative traits, I can start having friends. But why did stage 1 have to be killing your parents and Uzumaki? Getting it out of your system? That's stupid. This is your system. Noah. You didn't have to... I didn't do this out of revenge. I did this because I had to be happy. Feel bad for me. My parents are dead. It's just more manipulation, Noah. You know, I'll bet this whole over-elaborate mousetrap setup was your sick idea of fun, coming up with a way to create an alibi, leading us on while pretending to help. It screams nothing but psychopath, psychopath, psychopath. I see nothing redeemable. What about you, Takuma? Nope, not a drop of quality content in the entire product. What I mean to say to you is you, Noah, are a despicable person, and I hope nobody is ever friends with you. Stage 1 had to be killing my parents. It was a test. If Hiroki had just let Noriko die and answered my phone call, he would have been saved. So you admit the ringtone set off the bombs. And you realize you just confessed outright, didn't you? What? No, I didn't. I've been choosing my words very carefully. Stage 1 had to be killing my parents? In the hypothetical scenario. No, Noah. I think we've collected enough statements from you to justify a confession. It's over, Noah. You disgust me. And I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you all. That's another case wrapped. Ume, tally the fee. Overtime, mystery cram, Uzumaki portrait decoration, sake fee, hangover cure fee, day 2, intelligent deductions, confession, silence fee. That'll be another 500,000 yen. Silence fee? We're not going to be your friends, Noah, but we don't have to be your enemies. We appreciate your donation, and the puzzle you created for us to solve. I enjoyed the part where you tampered with my evidence. That was really something, Noah. I like the part where I totally nailed the motive behind this case. It gave me a real boost of confidence. Short-lived, but it was nice while it lasted. The detectives were clearly bribing me to stay quiet about their disgusting business practices. The question was, would I let them? Would you like to pay the detectives? Fine. You have a deal. I'm glad we could come to a mutual understanding. It was good doing business with you, Noah. If you ever have any more problems, be sure to contact the YPDA as soon as possible. Sure. I hate to get out of there, but I had one last question. What are you going to do about Reiwa? She's been listening in on all this, remember? We'll take care of it. Why don't you focus on keeping that secret of ours, huh? Don't worry. Friends never break promises. Goodbye, detectives. Man, we lost. And shouldn't they pay us because they're selling body parts? Or at least we'll call it even, right? I say we call it even. We're all terrible people, let's call it even. The detectives kept their end of the bargain, erasing all my data from the directory. I've never gotten the sense that they were threatened by me. Perhaps revealing their secret would have been a bad idea. I bought my freedom, but it was too late to know. Could I have ever been friends with the detectives? That's really what you're concerned about? My god, that end. Is that like, how many, does this have multiple endings? I get the feeling that it all converged on a single ending no matter what. I really don't actually know. But I'm going to wrap this one up here, and we'll say that's the end. But if I find out there's significantly more to do, we'll come back to it. But otherwise, wait. Oh, this is endings. Okay, so there are multiple endings. Right. Well, at least unlock flowchart menu. Alright, we'll be back. I'm gonna leave this here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.